Court today denied the petition for certiorari filed on behalf of Boulder County Coroner John Meyer, M.D., regarding the sealing of the JonBenet Ramsey autopsy report. Because of the ongoing investigation and details contained in the report, officials in Boulder County felt that the autopsy report should remain sealed in order to protect the public interest. The Supreme Court's order indicates that the court reviewed the entire record and the briefs that have been filed, in addition to considering our petition for certiorari. Based on that review, the Supreme Court has determined that release of additional portions of the autopsy report will not damage the public interest. We appreciate the court's thorough review and respect the court's decision.
Madeline, now that some of those details of the 9-page report have been made public, how is the public interest damaged?
Well, the coroner believes that release of details that have up until now been known only to a few people is going to make it harder to investigate the homicide.
Do you think this means it will make it harder to obtain an arrest?
Well, I think it's going to make it harder to do the investigation. That's not the end of it, though. I mean, the reason we petition the court is because the question for the court to decide is whether that is a substantial injury to the public, whether the public's right to know outweighs the interest in successfully concluding the investigation. Those are the things that the court has made a final decision on.
Madeline, given the fact that you guys have gone before 3 courts and all 3 courts ruled against you, in retrospect, do you question the wisdom of spending tax dollars on that process, or would you do it again? We would do it again. We absolutely don't question the wisdom of going through the process. These are not easy questions. These are not questions that have black and white answers. The coroner felt that the effect on the investigation was an important public interest and that he needed to advocate for that public interest. It's precisely because these questions aren't easy questions to answer that we have this process for judicial review, and we felt we had to go through it. Do you think the investigation gained anything, or the coroner gained anything, by the 6 months that's passed with that under seal?
Well, I think the question really is whether the investigation has gained anything, and since the coroner isn't responsible for the investigation, we can't answer that question.
Why not release all of it now?
Well, that was the court's decision, and I can't really explain why the court chose to hold back a portion of the report for what will now be about another month.
But you had an option to release all of it yourself.
Well, we obviously felt that release of the entire report, or at least release of those portions that had previously been redacted, was not in the public interest. So we don't necessarily agree with the distinction that the district court has made.
Why don't you feel that was in the public interest? Obviously, the public has a strong interest in this case and would like to know details.
Well, as I said, on the one hand, there's the public's right to know. On the other hand, there's the fact that release of those details can be used by people who are doing the investigation to evaluate the information that's coming in. And when that information is released, we lose the value that information has as a check on information we may be getting from other sources.
Hypothetically, could you give an example?
Well, hypothetically, if somebody comes in with a piece of information about the crime scene that is currently not known, then that is a red flag to take that person's information very seriously. If that same piece of information now comes out in the autopsy report and someone comes in and tells you that, you don't know how to evaluate it. You don't know if it's from the autopsy or if it's genuine first-hand knowledge.
You answered my question. Are you going to have those of us who think they differently than those who so what was the advantage of
Okay, now. I mean, it's quicker for you. Just come in and pick it up. Anyone else?